just type in hashtag replay just so I know that you're watching.
Property guru George Markowski from Positive Property Solution joins us now. George, good morning to you.
How are you, George?
You've got to hang out with guys like George who know the numbers. Get the real numbers, the facts. Because I can talk to you about cash flow and all those things. George is better at that than me. The thing I'm ecstatic about George, he is a hardcore teacher. He really wants you to learn.
Okay guys, we've got 10 seconds left. Can't wait to show you a great, amazing session tonight. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, freedom fighters, and welcome to today. Tonight we're going to be talking about safe as a bomb shelter asset protection. Now, a lot of people are reaching out to me, and, a lot of people are a little bit worried about what's happening in the property market, full stop. And because of that, I thought I'd bring in the big guns. I thought I'd bring in Adrian Cartland from Cartland Law. And this guy, you've seen him before, and he's back talking about asset protection. So Adrian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, George. Glad to be back. So today, let's go.
Good to see you again, Adrian.
Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Good to be back. Now, today I'd like to talk about that. And a bit off topic, but actually not. I'd like to someone who you might want to do some afterwards. I'd like to talk about the story of Bossanak.
Adrian, I've just lost every 3 or 4 words. I'll lose you for a second for some reason. Don't know if it's your headphones, not sure. By the way, anyone watching, please, if you're watching live, type in hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, because I know many of you do, type in hashtag replay just so you know you're watching. I've got the glasses on tonight because I want to look smart. And it's easier to see my screen. So that's why I've been starting to wear glasses recently. Adrian, let's try this again.
All right. Is that better?
Let's try it again. You said that's better. I heard that. Someone says, hello, George and Adrian. Let's try it again. Say it again.
Yeah, George.
Yes, I can hear you.
So all clear. So today, to start off with the story, and involves facts and fitness, and you might want to look up. And there's and a gentleman by the name of Western Australia, and he has things that can measure your fitness levels through body scanning in his app, in his business, but unfortunately ended up with a multi-million-dollar and when I'm reading through this, $5 million. Sometimes it's more. It's huge, 7 figures. And so he's protection.
Okay. Sorry. Apparently the line's very bad, Adrian. They're not catching every word.
All right. I'm going to come back again.
Yep, coming back again. I'll say hello to everyone. Have a chat. Adrian's sound really bad. Yep, I'm going to start that again, guys. But what I'll do, guys, is while I'm here, I want to talk a bit about the Australian property market, what's been happening. So there's been, most cities in Australia have gone down in value. And that's a fact. And a lot of people have been reaching out and asking me, like, what's happened to the property market? And the question you've got to ask yourself really is, what is going to happen long term? Because the short-term property market is not as important as the long-term property market. Also, judging and trying to look at the long-term property market, there's a lot more clarity than when you look at the short-term property market. Adrian, let's try you again.
All right. Is this better?
Okay, let's do it. So a guy in Western Australia.
So we're talking about a guy in Western Australia.
No, it's breaking up. Okay.
Can measure your body fat. And he's ended up with a multi-million-dollar tax debt, in like $5 to $10 million, and was then pursued by got judgment against his office, gone bankrupt, and then I don't have any assets in my name because you've been advised not to have assets in your name if you're running a business. Can happen. And then it doesn't matter. We're going to get you anyway. He had his company. He had his house, which is in Perth, which is, I think is valued at. It seems to be a pretty nice place, and some big mansion that he's purchased in the name of, and now this is that the commissioner has said, notwithstanding owed this money, that you owe this money, wife's name, we're going to try and get it off you anyway. So what's happened? The commissioner has argued that because he's wife's name and he's been on he's borrowed and he's jointly liable for it, is that 50% of this house, even though it's not in his name, I'm totally protected here. My wife is going, I've got a house here and I'm totally protected. That the tax office is now coming after the wife.
Adrian,
we had a last judgment in August.
We're still losing a few of your words.
So
every
George,
4 or 5 words.
I can see you talking. Are you?
Every 4 or 5 words we lose a word or two. Okay. So can anyone hear me at the moment? By the way,
I can't hear anything.
Hello and welcome. Okay, let me type in the chat. Okay. Anyway, guys, so what's been happening with the property market? We're going to be talking about asset protection tonight. And please be patient because this is well worthwhile because we're going to be talking about case studies and actually what has happened of recent times. And, you know, I can hear you well, George. Great. Someone can hear me well. How's the sound of Adrian? Can people hear Adrian or is he still a bit, because I can't hear him that well. Don't know if it's my hearing or if it's just Adrian. But I'm hoping we can get a little bit more clarity because the case studies you're sharing with us are very powerful and they're very important, which is going to be great. And I'd love to do that. But what I'll do, guys, if we don't get that, okay, so if we don't get the clarity, we're doing a private Zoom session with our clients tonight. And what I might do is replay that recording just so you don't miss out on a lot of this sort of stuff. So, Adrian, we're going to try you again, but apparently we're having problems with the sound. And hopefully we can fix it if we can.
Good. You seem to be able to hear me. You cut off. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, you're
sorry
clipping,
if I've been talking.
Clipping. Yeah, so Adrian, you're clipping. Yeah, so I'm hoping during our Zoom conversation we can get some clarity, and I'll replay that video for the live group. So, guys, since we've got a bit of a hold up, Adrian, what asset protection questions do you have? Please type them in the question box because we're going to be answering tonight on our second session and then bringing it back in. Adrian, maybe we can try a laptop or something. Is that going to work? Are you on a laptop?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
Yep. So if you've got any asset protection questions, please type in the chat. I'm going to answer them for you as best as I can, or get Adrian to do it. But the thing is, with the market the way it is at the moment, interest rates going up, there's a lot of people that are going to be a little bit vulnerable. And, you know, you get insurance when you don't need it, not once you get in trouble. So if you're looking at asset protection, estate planning, and all that sort of stuff, you really need to get that in place before you need it. Just like insurance, because once you need it, it's too late. You know, if you don't insure your house and it burns down, you're going to lose it. And asset protection is the same thing, because you can't do it once you're in trouble. It doesn't work. So you need forward planning for this sort of stuff. And if you want to be like a wealthy investors, what they do is they keep themselves safe. They get all the right insurances. They get their life insurance, their trauma protection, income protection, house protection, all that sort of stuff to make sure that they're safe. And that's what they do, because you've got to do that. It's very important. Okay, so we're going to try this once again. Third time is the charm. Hello, Adrian.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Adrian. Perfect. Done. Guys, thank you for your patience. We've got Adrian back. And you know what? Well worth the wait. What can I say?
Thank you, George. No, thank you guys for having me. And I'm sorry for the problems. I'm just not sure it was the gremlins acting up again. So
okay. So let's talk about the one-way situation. Let's start from the beginning, which is great.
Great. All right. So today we're going to talk about asset protection, and I'm going to talk about this, one of the simplest strategies that we can have for asset protection, and that is this: having things in your spouse's name. This is not even asset protection 101. This is asset protection 100. And now I've got to say, I personally do not own any assets in my name. I do asset protection and tax structuring for a living. So I can tell you, if you do a land title search of me, I got nothing. But this isn't bulletproof. And the more that you use something that everyone uses, the more that you have at risk that the tax office or someone else or creditors are going to try and break it. And the thing that I want to talk about
as well, correct?
Sorry, what was that?
They're always trying to close different loopholes, aren't they? So something.
Oh yeah, they're always trying to go with things. And one of the simplest is owning your property in your spouse's name. Now there's a few reasons why you might do this, and from an asset protection point of view. So first of all, you say it's not in my name, but it's in my spouse's name, and my spouse is they're not an at-risk person. Now, so the advantages of using this really simple strategy is that it's really clear the principal place of residence, that you're going to get capital gains tax discounts that you normally have. Whereas if you owned it in a trust, you might not get that, or you can, but it's more complex.
There's a way, obviously. Yep.
Yeah, there's a way around it, but it's it's a little bit more complex. Two, if you have land tax, will be automatically assessed as as nil. If there's land tax, you get exempt from your principal place of residence. So bank financing can be really simple. So you're keeping the vanilla structure of like buying it in the husband and wife's name, but instead you just got usually you take out the husband. So I just want to say this: 95% of bankruptcies are men.
Yep. So why are men so prone to going bankrupt? Tell me, what's the story? Why are women much safer?
Risk and reward. So there's men just have a preponderance for taking risk. Men you can easily see this if you have like guys under the age of 25, 18 to 25. Their insurance premiums on driving is insane because they do dumb stuff. They take risks. George, I'm not sure if you were like that. Were you crazy when you were under 25?
Yes, I was. I'm not just 25. When I bought my convertible Porsche, I lost a lot of points.
Yeah, but it's just like if you look at the genders, men and women, intelligence is evenly distributed. Conscientiousness, like whether they're hardworking, is the same. The big difference is like aggressiveness and risk taking. A couple of big big gender differences. And so men will not only be willing to take high risks, like they'll really push it out there. They'll fight, they'll drive fast cars. This can be beneficial in business because they go, you know what, like I'm 21 years old. I'm just going to go out and smash it. I'm going to take all these risks. I'm going to put everything in Dogecoin, and they're either going to buy a Ferrari or they're going to go bankrupt. And this can be beneficial in business. You often see particularly men who take risks and risks and risks and risks, and they pay off, and they make and everyone's successful. They've provided for their family. Their wife and children are really thankful for the hard work and risks that they've taken. And then sometimes though, like it just doesn't. They gamble. They take risks, and it all falls over. And and so 95% of bankruptcies are men.
There you go. Now,
so that's
two facts that I want to mention while we're here is one, the most litigious state in the world is California.
Yep.
Now, and the second most litigious state in the world is New South Wales.
That's insane.
So we're up there. Here in Australia, we're up there. So the chance of getting sued in America or Australia is actually quite large compared to anywhere else in the world. That's just a fact. And two, with interest rates going up at the moment, there's a lot of turbulence with supply chain issues, and there's going to be a lot of people getting in trouble. And that's the fact of it. There's going to be a lot of businesses going down. And, at the end of the day, when you get asset protection, you've got to get it early. You can't wait. It's like insurance. It's too late once you have a car accident. It's too late once you get in trouble. You've got to get it early. Is that correct?
So I had some clients come to me recently, and they're, this isn't the first time this has happened. I've had a number of clients come through like this, and they go, you know what? I'm about to declare bankruptcy, or the tax office is coming after me. I've got all these big debts. I want to protect my house. And what can I do? I'm like, give it to the tax office, save money. And in fact, when you're in that position of you're close to toppling over, actually the worst thing that you can do, this is totally counterintuitive, the worst thing that you can do is try and not go bankrupt. Like the people that I've seen who've lost absolutely everything is they just keep on getting more and more and more debts, and then second mortgage their house and get some more debts and bring in loans from family members to try and keep their business propped up. If you are failing, you should fail.
I've seen that happen before personally, not me personally, but I've got a friend in Melbourne who had quite a bit of money, and they just tried to keep it afloat. It was a big business, and unfortunately, everyone else sunk with them, trying to help them, friends and family. And that happens a lot. You're absolutely right. If you're going to sink, you're going to sink. But the problem is ego won't let people want to sink. They want to hold on. Now,
and it is a hard one, because the people that become successful, one of the reasons why you become successful is that you have this never say die attitude. And some people say, you're not going to succeed. I don't believe in you. I think that you're going to fail. You're going to lose everything. And they say, no, I've got this great idea. And you push and you push and you push. And you have to be, you have to just tell everyone to piss off, and I'm not going to listen to you. And that's what makes you successful. And that really helps you on the way up. Like the clients that I have who are the most successful, who go from like 0 to 100 mil plus, they're all like that. Every single one of them.
Look at Elon Musk. He's been next to the wall so many times, and he's the richest man in the world. Like, wow, that paid off, didn't it?
Yeah, except Elon Musk is fragile. If he keeps gambling and he keeps on, rolling the dice and keeps winning. If he loses everything. There's no.
I think the richest man in the world is fragile. I can't see it.
Absolutely. So he absolutely. So the way he has everything hocked, his most of his wealth is tied up in a number of publicly traded companies, or either private companies, like the shares in those. He has huge loans against them, and his companies. The reason why he's been so successful and the value's gone up so much is because there's a lot of volatility. It could go up, what goes up can go down. Now, and if he goes down,
he lost $5 billion in one day once. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, $5 billion. Like that really adds up.
You wake up in the morning, you're like, yeah, 5 billion richer. Then you go to bed, I'm poorer. Oh well. Well, look, you know what? Obviously, he's built his capacity there. Now, you're talking about people putting their properties and
Yeah, so you put
assets
it in. So you put something in your
Is
wife's
that-
name. That's a really good
Does that
idea.
still work? Does that
Yeah,
still work?
but so one thing is problematic is that just because you've purchased something in your wife's name doesn't mean that you have got rid of all of your rights to it. Let me give you a simple example. If you buy your house in your wife's name and you divorce, you still get 50-50. It doesn't protect you against it. Because one, you have rights like if you divorce. Two, if you if you have contributed to the purchase price, you've either given your wife money or you've gone on the mortgage, you're actually under trust law, you're entitled to maybe like to 50%. It's called a resulting trust. And because let me just put it this way. If you gave your brother, $100,000 and said, this is going to be the deposit on my next property. He takes it, buys a $500,000 property, buys it in his own name. Who do you think should be rightfully entitled to that property? Your brother, who's got it in his name, or you? Well, you've provided purchase price. You've found the property. It's rightfully yours, and the law tracks that. Now, here, if the husband is paying for 50% of the purchase price, the husband is paying for 50% of the mortgage. Husband is entitled to 50% of the property, like unless it's totally severed, and there's some ways to do that.
Does that mean
but
not covered? Is that what you're saying?
It's not covered. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
so the tax office is clever, and with this Westminster Bosnack, when he went bankrupt, they said what they're going to do is
give us some context. We didn't hear it before. We couldn't hear you.
Oh,
tell
sure.
us about Bosnack. Tell us.
So Vlada Bosnack is a fitness entrepreneur from Western Australia. He's got a really interesting app that can determine your fat and fitness levels without scales. He's made. It's a publicly traded company. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
He's scales get it right. So I don't know how he did it with an app, but well done. Anyway.
So yeah, he seems like he's a really hardworking guy, really successful in business. One of these guys who takes risks and pays off. And he's bought. I think his family house is worth like 5-10 mil. He's ended up with 10 mil worth of tax debts, and he's gone bankrupt from there. And he's thought, oh well, I'm going to be safe. Multi-million-dollar mansion that a family lives in is in my wife's name. It is safe. Tax office says, well, you paid for the mortgage. You've contributed to the purchase price. This is half yours. We want half of it. And so he's lost the last couple of cases. He's lost in the full federal court. It's being appealed to the High Court at the moment. He's spent years fighting.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be super exciting. So there are ways of severing this. There are things that he could have done rather than just put it in his wife's name. So if he had taken some of that equity and that was mortgaged to a trust, that would have been safe because there's no resulting trust there that gets around this contribution of purchase price. If he had purchased it in a family trust. Like that would have been safe. If he had purchased it in a capital protected unit trust, like that would have been safe. Purchasing in his wife's name, nice and simple, not so much, not so successful. And he spent years and millions of dollars and is and bankrupt because of it.
Yep. Now we've only got 6 minutes left for this session because then we're going to our next private session. So what I want to do is, did you hear about that story about that couple? I think it was a lady. She had some money with crypto.com, and instead of paying her $100, they paid her $10 million. And she bought her sister a house and just went on a spending spree, and now they're trying to get the money back. Now, she probably should have asked for protection.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. There's a difference in here between mistake and from like criminal proceeds. So I want to say that if you are involved in a criminal activity and you said like I'm a bikie and I'm drug running and I've made all these criminal proceeds. All of these structures, they'll just walk through them. Okay, so so something else. If you're a terrorist, none of this helps. So don't be a bikie, don't be a terrorist. So if you're so you shouldn't do that. Like, I mean, just as a general thing, like, don't be a terrorist. And
I agree.
Yeah. But except for those circumstances, we can protect your assets. So if she has stolen money, there is criminal tracing, and it can be traced no matter where it goes. If she has made money, and even just by accident, or a problem with the cryptocurrency, then she could have purchased those. She could have put that into a trust, gifted it to trust. Here's the catch, though. If she gifts money into a trust and she goes bankrupt, like a few months later, they can claw that back. So this is why when we say we're looking to set up asset protection, you can't set it up a few months before you go bancrupt. If you set up, it's too late then.
You got to plan ahead. You got to really plan ahead and save for a rainy day. You really got to get your stuff ready. And obviously, we're going to talk about this later, but there's some more complicated trust structures that are very powerful that really protect assets a lot better than just a normal trust. You wouldn't use a normal trust in this sort of situation.
No, we wouldn't use that, because it's been important that she gets something. In fact, something like this, you know what I would do for her in this situation? I would use a capital protected unit trust. What I'd do is I'd subscribe for units. Let's say she's got $1 million worth of proceeds from a cryptocurrency. I'd subscribe for units of the in this capital protected unit trust, and then I would buy an asset, like for example, a property, it's a real estate in there, and then as the then in the event that she goes bankrupt, the capital protected units, they will close off, and she won't have any more interest, and the interest will instead be held by a blood descendant trust. But
she got her money by mistake, so probably wouldn't work, would it?
Mistake, I'm not familiar with it. If there's a difference between mistake and fraud. So if she's committed a
crypto.com made the mistake. They sent her 10 million instead of $100. She didn't create and do any fraud at all.
I'd want to look at this one closely. I wouldn't give up the money if I were her.
No. She's been to court, and apparently there's a bit of some of the money they can get back depending on where she put it, which is interesting. So it's fascinating, very fascinating one to follow. But anyway, what's happening, guys, is we're going to go to a private group now. So thank you so much for joining us, Adrian. I appreciate it. I'm going to see you in the private group. And what I might do is, guys, if you've got any questions about asset protection, type them in the chat, type them on here, and we hopefully will be able to answer our questions. We're going to be coming on more often anyway with Adrian, because everyone's a big fan of Adrian, so it's going to be good. Adrian, thank you so much. I'll see you on...
Thank you. In the private chat.